Good afternoon, everybody here from Geneva. From the central office, we are having the second webinar on mentoring from IEC affiliate countries. As you might know, we always do the same webinar twice for different time zones so that many of you can participate. Today we are having Thomas Robertson with us, and Thomas is responsible for the affiliate country program. A few things about these webinars. You find the presentation already for download here in your webinar pane. You see this area handouts, and there you see the mentoring for affiliate countries. So there you can download the PDF. If you have questions, you can put the questions in writing. We have this questions area, so you can write down your questions, and at the end we will also have a possibility to ask questions. So I will now ask Thomas to unmute himself so we can welcome him, and he can start the presentation. So Thomas, welcome. You got the floor.
Hi, thank you, Jan. Good afternoon, good morning to those of you, and I'm pleased to be here today to be able to give a little presentation on mentoring for IEC affiliate countries, and maybe perhaps first give a little bit of background on what the IEC does for developing countries across the world. So if you could go to the next slide, please. So to give you, as I mentioned, a bit of background, the IEC family is 171 countries, of which about half of them are what we call affiliate countries, and affiliate countries participate free of charge in the IEC. So the raison d'etre, the reason that the affiliate country program began, back in 2001, the number of IEC members had changed very little since its inception in 1906. The requirements for membership through the fees and the setting up of a national committee were something that developing countries had found hard to meet. And at that time, the WTO, the World Trade Organization, was looking for alternatives for developing countries to use international standards as the basis for national and regional standards and regulations, and to include developing countries in standardization activities. So the WTO Technical Barriers to Trade Committee issued a request to find ways for the main standardization bodies, in other words IEC, ITU and ISO, to get developing countries on board, and the IEC responded to that request by establishing the affiliate country program in 2001, and in doing so support the WTO's efforts and ensure the participation of developing countries in standardization and conformity assessment activities. So the affiliate country program, first and foremost, is completely free of charge. It offers developing countries a way to use international standards as the basis for their national and regional standards and regulations, and it also allows them to participate in the development of the standards themselves. Through the program, IEC international standards are provided free of charge for adoption at the national level, and there's a kind of two-way commitment whereby the affiliate country commits to using IEC international standards, and in turn the IEC provides the tools through free standards, free access to technical committee documents, free access to conformity assessment information through, there's another program that we call the Affiliate Conformity Assessment Status, or ACAS for short. So the IEC also provides a mentoring program. That's what we're going to talk about today. Through all these different initiatives, we try and approach the capacity building of a developing country in order to not only benefit from using IEC international standards, but also actively participate in their development. So the affiliate country program reflects the two IEC pillars, the standardization and conformity assessment activities. So amongst the standardization initiatives, there's country workshops at the national level, the mentoring that we're going to talk about. We do a number of webinars, and there's also guides and brochures that are available for free on the IEC website. On the other hand, the conformity assessment, there's another number of initiatives and activities that are done surrounding this, that's for another day. So the focus of this presentation, the affiliate mentoring, the idea here is that we partner well-developed or well-established IEC national committees with what we call national electro-technical committees. We call them NECs to differentiate from NCs. So you have the IEC national committees and the NECs, the NECs of the affiliate countries. And the idea is that we partner a well-established committee with the committee of a developing country in order to share best practices, provide support, guidance, etc. And it's a voluntary program that lasts a maximum of 2 years. It can be extended if the mentor deems necessary in case there are certain ongoing projects that still require some time to finalize. But the idea is that it's limited in time in order to provide some turnover so that the mentors are available for other developing countries, but also so that nobody feels that they're locked into an indefinite partnership. And the time-limited nature of it means that often there's a lot of activity after the first year of getting acclimatized within the partnership. Then given the timeline that is ending in a year, a lot of activities take place, and we find that it's the best, that's the sweet spot as far as the duration of a mentoring partnership. And there are 2 levels of mentoring, the management, which I'll go into detail on the next slide, and the technical mentoring. So the management mentoring is provided. It's on the affiliate country has to request the mentoring. It's not us that will go to a country and say, you need mentoring, we recommend it. It's made available to them. It's presented to them as an opportunity. And if they fulfill the condition, our conditions is that they have adopted at least 50 IEC international standards, that shows that they're already in some way on board using the affiliate country program, and that there's some structure, some national structure in place in order to utilize the program and the mentoring to its fullest extent. Also that they have established a national committee. That's a basic step. Can be often quite a challenging step. That's where the IEC affiliate country program that's based in Geneva helps them. And once those two criteria, the adoptions and having established a national committee are in place, then they're available to benefit from the mentoring. So the management mentoring focuses mainly on reinforcing the structure and the functioning of the national committee. So the NEC, or the next secretary, who is the would be the CEO of the national committee in the affiliate country, is the one who's going to benefit from the expertise and be paired with an NC secretary from a well-established IEC member. We'll see some examples of partnerships further on and who has been helping and who's been participating. Another challenge is reaching out to stakeholders, and that's a challenge that's not only for developing countries but also for member countries, which is including and involving representation from all stakeholders within the country, including industry, SMEs, academia, utilities, etc. Establishing mirror committees at the national level, how to organize those, how to run them, how to keep people engaged, how to distribute the documents, etc. And also the adoption of IEC international standards. So helping countries to streamline the process of adoption by either anticipating a new standard or a new edition coming out and having submitted comments and influence the development of the standard in order to match national criteria, or take into consideration the changes and the differences that will be necessary to account for once the new edition is out. So all these are topics that can go into sufficient detail with the help of the mentor. So this is a detailed survey that's been developed by some of my colleagues, and the idea here is to try and survey the needs of the affiliate country, what they perceive as their requirements, what they need help with, where they would like to be, their objectives. And so the idea is to survey and assess all that before entering into a partnership, so that we can try and match those needs and those requirements with a mentor that will be able to provide the information necessary. So this is an important step in matching the developing country or the affiliate country with an IEC member that will be able to meet the requirements and the level of engagement that both are expecting. So once the match has been made and we've established a partnership, there's a formality, which is a mentoring agreement, which is a document that both parties sign, and it just simply outlines that both are engaging in a mentoring partnership, the duration, when it's expected to start, and consequently the end will be 2 years from then, and that's meant to formalize the partnership. So the other thing I touched on was the technical mentoring. This is perhaps one step more advanced. It's separate from the management of the National Committee in a lot of senses, and it's more to do with how do we help experts in affiliate countries and other developing countries to participate actively in the development of IEC standards. Affiliate countries, although they're not members of the IEC because they don't pay any dues, they still have the ability to submit comments, and those comments are forwarded to the secretaries of the technical committees of the IEC. So there's very much a possibility for developing countries to influence the development of the standard by submitting these comments. However, the form in which these comments have to be submitted and what qualifies as a valid comment and not is something that's part of the working processes of the IEC and the way the IEC develops its standards. And that is something that experts from IEC members can help also by partnering with an expert from an affiliate country in order to try and facilitate that commenting process. So it's not about helping the affiliate experts to understand the science or the engineering behind the standard. It's more to do with the process or the IEC processes and the IEC way of developing standards. So amongst that, there's focusing on the working processes, guidance for understanding the requirements of international standards, and also the running of mirror committees, which is, I suppose you could draw a parallel with management, but it's more in the sense of an expert within the mirror committee and how the secretary of a mirror committee will be running that. So here's a list of the mentoring partnerships that have taken place up to now. Many of them in Africa. That's where most of our affiliates are, although there are a number also that are from Asia and from South America, notably Peru, that became a member of the IEC last year. And as you'll see, there's a number of mentors, Austria, Germany, France, that have participated several times in the mentoring program. So they've seen the development, or they've helped an affiliate country through once, and then after the 2-year period is over, they've recommitted or re-volunteered again to assist other affiliate countries. So we're very thankful for those that have been able to, and all these countries that have been able to help the IEC community in general by providing support to affiliate countries. And here's a list of the mentors themselves. So there has been some change in mentors over the years, but many of them have been there from the start and continue to assist us. So they're just putting this slide up to give thanks and credit to those who have been giving their time to help affiliate countries. So mentoring initiatives, as part of the mentoring, there's a lot of flexibility in terms of what we let the mentee and the mentor develop or see as their objectives. We give some guidelines as far as developing the national committee, as far as involving stakeholders and such, but the actual activities that take place, although we're available to assist with administrative aspects or with the organization, the objectives and what actually takes place is very much up to an understanding that's reached between the mentor and the mentee. If you take the case of Côte d'Ivoire, there's training that's been done in France, but there's also a national workshop that was held in Côte d'Ivoire where the French NC Secretary Bruno Berken came to Côte d'Ivoire and participated in a 2-day workshop and visited the stakeholders. And so it really much depends on the commitment and how much and what is possible. The same in Bhutan, where Sweden, Thomas Korsell, went to Bhutan with a team of Swedish experts and participated in a number of workshops, visiting the local stakeholders, which gave a lot of visibility to the local national committee and gave them some more, facilitated the goodwill with the government and other aspects. So there's a number of different approaches that can be taken, a number of different initiatives, and all are valid. Another one that's I suppose the bilateral meetings that are held during the IEC general meeting. There are a number of possibilities for affiliate countries that attend the general meeting to organize bilateral meetings with their mentors during the general meeting, which gives them the opportunity to see them face to face. So some results that we've seen through the mentoring. National adoptions, as I mentioned before, is an important measure for us to see that affiliate countries are using IEC international standards in national regulations or adopting them at the national level. And in most cases of the countries that have been through a mentoring partnership, we note that there's a marked increase in the number of national adoptions that they declare. And again, and perhaps even more importantly, is the number of comments that are issued, technical comments, which shows more than just using the international standards is participating in the development of the standards. So we've seen comments coming from Rwanda and Ecuador, which is something that was very, very satisfying to see that this had achieved an increase in the activity of their mirror committees at the national level. We've also noticed an increase in the participation general meeting from those countries. And last but not least, there's 2 countries that have joined the IEC as members since being part of the mentoring program, as is the case of Peru, that became a full member last year, and Côte d'Ivoire, which became an associate member earlier this year. It's worth mentioning that the mentoring program is not set up and it's not there in a sense to propel affiliates to becoming members. It's not, there's nobody pushing them to become members. However, if they feel that they can benefit more from being a member than they can from being an affiliate, there are limitations to being an affiliate that come hand in hand with being a free program. At the moment that they realize that they can benefit more and that they can contribute to the IEC also through technical participation, then the mentoring program can be very well suited to give the finishing, polishing touches that can help a national committee from an affiliate country develop to the point where it can participate and benefit fully from being an IEC member. So that's the case for Peru and for Côte d'Ivoire that went through. So support that we give, based in Geneva from the affiliate secretariats, we organize, during the general meeting, we organize something called the Next Secretary and President Workshop. The idea of this workshop is to have presentations, discussions that are on the challenges of a national committee in a developing country. So topics such as financing the national committee, involving stakeholders, it's very much in a sense along the lines of the objectives of the mentoring program when it comes to reinforcing the structure of a national committee. Is what are the challenges, and this forum allows the mentors to participate also so they can give their expertise and their experience over the many years that an IEC member has had to establish and develop its national committee. And often we find that a lot of the challenges that are in developing countries are perhaps the magnitude is less, they're not as severe in IEC members, but they've gone through IEC members have very often gone through the same difficulties and the same processes, and have over time found ways of doing things that, well, at least on their national scenarios, facilitates the development and the work of their national committees. So it's a good opportunity for NC secretaries and NEC secretaries amongst their peers to discuss on the challenges that they face and how they go about overcoming those. The other thing that we do is that we support the mentors, whether it is through administrative support or logistical support, and providing them with the tools to help the affiliate countries. We facilitate, as I mentioned, the bilateral meetings during the general meeting. And we also provide assistance, financial assistance for one mentoring trip per mentoring partnership. So we can, as some of the activities, the initiatives that were presented before, there's the opportunity for either the mentor to go and visit the mentee, as was the case when France went to Côte d'Ivoire, or you can have the mentee going to visit the mentor, as was the case for the Ethiopian NT secretary who went to visit Germany and saw the PTB, the German Metrology Institution, at the same time. And so this is a possibility that allows them to do a workshop either in the mentor country or in the mentee country. So this is a slide to show the affiliate countries that are part of the program that are yet to benefit from a mentoring partnership that we consider are eligible and could benefit from it. As I mentioned, the criteria before is that they have 50. The numbers that you see there are the numbers of national adoptions of IEC international standards. So as long as they have 50 or more, and the NEC stands for National Electrotechnical Committee, they have established a national committee within the affiliate country. Ghana, Tanzania, and Zimbabwe have issued requests for mentoring. So we're at the moment we're looking for mentors or partnering them with mentors from IEC members. But the whole list there are countries that could potentially benefit. So if you're from an IEC member country and you think that you could contribute by helping an affiliate country, then we'd very much look forward to hearing from you. Okay, and that's a summary of the IEC mentoring for affiliate countries. So thank you very much for your attention, and I hope if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Yes, please write down your questions. We have this question section here where you can ask questions. Well, I have a question to you, Thomas. What was your experience with national committee secretaries or with national committees? What was their best takeaway from giving this support to affiliate countries in giving a mentorship? What do you think from your experience?
Well, it was quite interesting that there was quite varied feedback from the IEC members and the NC secretaries that provided the mentoring. Some of them underlined the fact that helping the IEC community as a whole was of benefit to the IEC, and that was a motivation in itself. Others were very enthusiastic in that the stakeholders who support the National Committee were very much interested in interacting and participating with other experts from the affiliate country. There were also questions of market access, of forming ties, of forming commercial ties with the affiliate country. So overall, there was a lot of positive feedback from the mentors saying that they had benefited immensely themselves from the experience of the mentoring. And it wasn't just, I mean, of course, there was a very it was a giving, and it was giving to the affiliate countries, and it was providing support. But there was also a lot of benefit for the mentor country, and that was very good to hear also. Thank you, Jan.
Okay. We have a question from Vignesh. He's asking, could you please explain about full membership and associated member? Would you like to answer this?
I can answer that, or Jan, you're the expert.
Well, yeah, this is a bit out of this session here, because we're talking more about the affiliate country program, which is not a membership but a support to developing countries, as you mentioned. While the full membership and associated membership is a form of membership in the IEC, and the difference here is a participation. So with the association, as an associate member, you can participate with a limited participation in technical committees and can participate with a few limits, while in a full membership you can participate without any limit in all technical committees, in all political committees, such as different political committees. So this is the difference in principle, and I think that also difference is the membership fee. So as Thomas mentioned, that countries which are coming from the affiliate country program and then after some time decide to become an IEC member would probably usually start as an associate member before directly becoming a full member. Thomas, anything else to add to this?
You've covered it pretty well. I mean, the main difference is, as you mentioned, that an associate member can participate in up to 4 technical committees. The associate members pay a flat fee that is significantly less than a full member pay. A full member pays a fee that is based on a number of different criteria, including GDP, electrification rates, and some other criteria. I'm not quite sure exactly. There's a formula that works out a fee, and associate members cannot participate in management committees, as you mentioned, Jan. So a full member has access to everything, can participate in as many technical committees as they want, and has access to management committees, whereas an associate member pays less but is limited in the number of technical committees it can participate in. And affiliate countries, as I mentioned, participate completely free of charge. So we give them standards free. We let them comment on working documents of technical committees they've selected, but they don't have a right to vote on the technical committee, the documents that come out, and they can't participate in management committees. I hope that that gives you a brief overview of the answer.
Yeah, exactly. I have a question to you, Thomas. Do you see that these affiliate countries who received the mentoring were faster in becoming an associate or becoming a member, or can you see any good result of this?
In the case of the two countries that transitioned from being affiliate countries to becoming members of the IEC, the mentoring certainly helped the affiliate country to present its case and to present its candidature to the IEC in a way that already met with IEC expectations, given that they had the support of an IEC member in order to guide them in preparing their candidature. Furthermore, they were able to, it wasn't just a question of presentation. I mean, they were able to constitute their national committee in a way that was aligned with the expectations of the IEC. So it's certainly able to help them along that process. But again, it was only because those countries themselves wanted to become members. It wasn't us pulling them to become members. They themselves saw the benefit of being members of the IEC and decided, we want to be members of the IEC. What can we do to accelerate along that way? And they were able to go through. For the other, there's a number of other countries that benefited from the mentoring that have no expectation of being a member anytime soon, or at least not within the next 5 years. But even in those cases, they were certainly able to accelerate the development of the national committee by avoiding pitfalls, by using terms, just something simple as using the terms of reference of another well-established national committee in order to base their own terms of reference, and then just modulate the things that they need for their. All these things are time savings that save a number of meetings. I mean, that's just one example. Yeah, it's every case that we've seen. It also depends on the starting point of the affiliate country. There are some affiliate countries, such as Peru, such as Côte d'Ivoire, that had already a very good infrastructure, that had already a very well-supported quality infrastructure network, that had a standardization institute, that had sufficient funds, and etc. And there are other affiliate countries, developing countries, that are starting from much further behind. They don't have that institution, they don't have that support from the government network, they don't have, and then of course the expectations have to be in line with the national reality. So in all cases it's helped. In some cases it takes, because there's a lot more to do, it takes a lot longer to get where they want to be.
Okay, yeah. One thing we can see probably is that it helped in both cases, helped both sides, that there was also, I think, some experiences by the mentors explaining their things, explaining their business, that there's also some learning process. So I think it's a win-win situation for both who participate.
Yeah, that's right. It's been a learning process for everybody involved, for the mentors, for the mentees, and for ourselves at the central office. So now that it's been going on for 5 years now, there's certainly quite a bit that's changed in the way that we match the affiliates with the mentors, and what we have as expectations, and the follow-up that we do, etc. So yes, it's been a learning experience for everybody.
Perfect. Okay, so probably there are no more questions right now at the moment. You can, of course, contact Thomas and his team if you have questions about affiliate countries. If you have any other question, just write back to the mail you receive. You will receive a mail, automatic mail, once this webinar is finished. Please stay tuned. We will have other interesting topics coming up in the IEC Academy webinars. Thank you very much, Thomas, for being here. Or in fact, Thomas is not here, but he's in Portugal, so he joined us from another country. So I'm very happy that you could make it, Thomas. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jan. It's a privilege. Thank you.
And bye-bye to all of you. I hope we could give you some interesting information. Stay tuned, and thank you for your interest. Bye-bye.